Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have Miss Grace Patterson here with me. She's won an author, brand new memoir that came out recently. Am I perfect yet? But she's also been theater and an actress since she was the age of 9. So she's been in Lifetime movies, Cheer for Your Life, College Professor Obsession. I mean, her IMDb page is very, very long. So I'm excited to have Grace here with me today, and I'm going to turn it over to her and let her introduce herself further.
Yes, nice to meet you all. Yeah, so you kind of summed it up. I started acting when I was 9, did local theater. I used to make my home movies. I grew up on a farm with like barely any friends. So I'm the oldest of 4. So I would like force my siblings to like make home movies with me, and they're so goofy. Um,
Yes.
and then I was like, I kind of want to do this like actually. And my parents were
Yeah.
like, we have no idea. Like they're accountants and business people. And so they were like, if you set everything up, like we'll drive you
Okay.
basically. So then I just started emailing when I was like 10 or 11, got an agent. And I still like went to college and, went through school. So acting was kind of more like I did it when I had time.
Yes.
I was also a professional cheerleader for the Dallas Stars. If anybody's like a hockey fan, most people are like, wait,
I'm
like,
Carolina Hurricanes, but
oh,
I
seriously?
I'm all right. Dallas is like my third team, so I'm okay with
Okay.
it, and I'm here for it.
We'll take it. We'll take it. They're like, wait, hockey as cheerleaders? I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
like half of them skate,
They
half
each
of
have
them.
like a different name. Like ours is the
Yes.
Storm Squad. Like each team has their own name for what they call the cheerleaders.
Yes. Does that team skate too? Do half of the cheerleaders like clean the ice or do they
They
only do?
don't. We have our own crew that does the ice.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty rare that I don't think any other teams really do that where the girls
What is
skate
it,
also.
Vegas? Vegas might. Does Vegas do it?
Maybe. I don't know. I only did it for a year, so I'm not that familiar, but like the skating is hard. I will say that. Like
Got it.
the worst skater on the team, and I only got to clean the ice once and only the
Okay.
goal, which is like the easiest job. And I was terrified. Well, because the hockey players will hit you. They don't care. They'll
Okay,
hit
yeah.
you.
They don't give a
Don't,
shit.
they don't. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm sorry I hit you. They'll
No.
take a cheerleader out. No
Yes.
threats. So um so anyways, yeah, and then I moved to LA after college and started doing like I did indie films in college and
Okay.
when I was a kid. But then I started getting into Lifetime movies and I did a lot of cheerleader Lifetime movies. So got to kind of put my cheerleader experience
To
to good
you.
use. And so then yeah, I recently wrote Am I Perfect Yet? I got a little bit into producing with my husband. We just did a film, Insane Like Me, which is like a horror, vampire horror film. It's on like Apple TV,
Okay.
Vudu, stuff like that. So yeah, that basically sums it up. I just got back from Rhode Island. I did another Lifetime movie where
Okay.
I'm actually the killer. So that was like a
Oh.
new thing.
That's a new role for Grace. That's a new role. Going back to when you were 9, like what was your first theater? Like what was it that got you in and you starting that acting bug?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what the play was. It was at Dallas Children's Theater. I think it was something about a wolf, but I can't remember if it was like, I don't know. I had like a small role. It was funny because me and my sister did it and she got a bigger part than me and she is not into acting at all. I had like a small role and that I only did like 1 or 2 plays there and like I think I did their summer camp. But then I asked for a camera and we started making the home movies and I was like, wait, forget theater. Film was like what I wanted to do. And so then I got an agent and started doing like local commercials and stuff and kind of ditched the theater thing because I was like, wait, I'm all about the film now. But it was awesome. I had so much fun doing Dallas Children's Theater.
It's so funny because I think every somebody in some sort of way has home videos of them.
Yeah.
Like me and my cousins, it'd be like Thanksgiving time. Every year we'd come up with dance performances and we'd call everybody downstairs where we're like, come watch us do this awful dance that us as 4 cousins, 3 girls and 1 guy put together until we were about I was the oldest until probably like 10 or 12 and then we were like,
Right, you look back, you're like, "Wait, that was, like, actually so embarrassing."
I'm
Like,
like I'm like, "My God, I hope these videos never see the light of day."
I know the dancing one is like, I used to do that too. Like we'd do like, I remember me and my friend Morgan and my cousin, my old babysitter was like getting married and we choreographed this dance to that song, My Wish for You
Oh
is
my
that
God.
first line. And we were like trying to perform it at her
Rascal
wedding.
Flats.
Yes, Rascal Flatts trying to perform it at her wedding, and then, like, basically my mom was like, "No, no, no," and we were, like, crying, like, "We wanna perform this dance." I'm like, "Thank goodness my mom did not let us perform this humiliating dance at her wedding."
Oh my gosh.
I
I would
know.
That would have been hysterical. I just want to talk about some of the people that you've worked with too. Like growing
Yeah,
up, you've worked with renowned acting coaches Catherine Hart, Del Shores, Sharon
yeah,
Garrison. How have these mentorships and these coaches helped you in your acting career over the last, oh my God, 10, 12, 15
yeah.
years?
Oh my gosh, I am such an advocate for coaching.
Okay.
Sharon Garrison was probably one of my, like, earliest coaches, and she was incredible, and then I started coaching with Catherine Hart, and she's pretty big in Dallas. She does, like I think she coached, like, a lot of the Disney stars and stuff,
Okay.
but I learned so much there, and then I had a coach, Ice, and he now is in LA, but he, like I was probably 17 or 18 when I started coaching with him, and it
Okay.
kind of like I remember it just kind of clicked where I was like, "Oh, like, I get it now."
Yeah.
And then in LA, Leslie Kahn, she's amazing. Actually, after I started taking her, like, comedy workshop and her, like, month-to-month classes, that's when I started really booking because she's like, "Okay, if you know the techniques of acting, I'm just here to show you, like, how to book the job because at the end of the day, that's, like, what we need to do, so, the script is your roadmap, and you gotta figure out, like, the choices to make that will stand out and,
Okay.
how to really go into a casting room and to win." So, she was amazing, and then Tess Kirsch is still my coach to this day. I coach with her on, like, all my auditions. She's in
Okay.
LA too, and she's incredible, like, she always, like, finds things, like, she's like, "Oh, well, what if you did this instead of this?" And I'm like, "I would have never thought of that." Like
I love how no matter what you're doing, like if it's a lifestyle coach or profession, whatever it may be, like each coach is going to point out something different, and
Yeah,
that's what I appreciate because like one coach can totally see it, and then others like, oh, didn't see that at all, and I think
right.
it's so important no matter what to have like not just one coach along the way, but multiple, because
Yeah.
they're gonna point stuff out to you that you didn't know at all.
Yeah, and give you, like, different techniques
Yes.
to
Yeah.
try out, so I think that's, like, really important. Like, I remember even, one coach in LA was like, "Oh, because crying on cue is, like, a thing, especially, like, in Lifetime movies, you don't get, like, so many takes," and
Yes.
I had always been like other coaches have been like, "Think of something sad," or
Yeah.
and that just was not working for me,
Okay.
and the coach was like, "Put it in your body, like, the last time you sobbed really hard, like, think about how your stomach, you couldn't breathe, and your throat clenches up and your
Yeah.
chest gets tight, and put it in your body, and your body's gonna know what to do." And
Yeah.
it literally works like a charm, like, I could, like, start
Interesting.
at yeah, and I was like, "Wow, what a great technique," like, you don't have to think of anything sad, you just put your
Yeah.
body there, and our bodies are smart, like, they know, like, "Oh, something's wrong," and produce the tears, so that's, like, that's, like, the main technique I took from him, and then,
Okay.
so many others, but
Now we hit on, you transitioning from theater to saying, okay, I want to be in film, but what was the transition from doing the commercials to then booking things like movies and indies and all of these things?
I mean, I was auditioning for, like, movies and stuff, I just didn't book them, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
I was, like, trying to get the roles, but I definitely wasn't ready yet.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think about, like, what I did, like, a little Six Flags commercial and stuff, like, I just did, like, a bunch of stuff like that. I did start doing some short films. I remember the
Okay.
first short film was through, like, I think the Arlington College Film School, and it was, like, me arguing with my dad or something, so I definitely started doing, like, lots of short films
Okay.
and then getting into, like, I did some features that, sometimes you do movies and they never come out. So I
Yeah.
did a couple of those where it was like low budget and never really saw the light of day. It
Yeah.
was a good learning ground. Um, and then just honestly like auditioning over and over again and like hoping that I got it. But I think going to all the classes and stuff, I was a better auditioner. Or
Okay.
I think I'm an okay auditioner now, maybe not the best, but like it's such a
Yeah.
specific technique than being on set. It's so
Yeah.
different.
We've heard you hear so much from the outside of like what the audition process is. Can you bring behind the door just like when you walk in, what is the environment? What is it like? What's the vibe when you walk in?
Oh gosh. Well, because it used to be more in person. Now it's more self-tape. But in person was like very terrifying. Like you go into the holding room and you see like lots of girls that look similar to you, same age, like, and you're like, okay, and then you go in and they give you the sides is what it's called. So it's like, 3 to 4 pages of the script, sometimes it may be shorter. You spend all night memorizing it. Usually you only have like a day or two turnaround.
Yeah.
And then usually they're all very friendly though. It's like probably between like 3 to like 7 people in the room.
Yeah.
And they just give you stand in front of them and
Yeah.
like do your lines, and then they give you some like notes, hopefully, or they don't give you any notes and they just say bye. And you're like, okay, that went well. But I definitely know you're like, okay, thank you so much. But I definitely like the self-tape thing. I know a lot of actors don't, but it makes it very convenient because like you can do it as many times as you want and like you're in the comfort of your own home. I
Yeah.
mean, you do miss that like energy in the room,
Yeah.
which is beneficial, but or they do like Zoom auditions now too, which I actually do like those as well because you can like kind of keep your script in front of you without holding it.
I
Yeah.
feel like I would lean towards the self-tape as well because I feel like it would allow me to be more comfortable and
Yeah.
actually get into the environment instead of having people. And I mean, this is why I'm not an actress because I'm like the
No, I
fact
feel the same
that
though.
like people staring at you. How in the world are you going to get comfortable and like in the groove if you've got
Yeah,
people staring at you and criticizing you when you can do a self-tape and just be like, no one's paying attention, no one's looking at me right now, just go.
right. You don't even know that they're judging you, but you don't have to see it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so the same way, gal.
Now we've been talking about the Lifetime movies, but you've done a slew of other work, but what is it when a project comes up, like what draws you to certain projects? What are you looking
Ooh,
for?
I think right now, currently in my career, I'm just like looking for mainly roles I haven't done before. So this one I just did in Rhode Island,
Ellen.
it's called A Friend's Obsession. They might change the title, but when I was reading the script, I was like, whoa, this is definitely something I've never done
Okay.
before. And if it terrifies me, like I was like, I literally don't know if I can pull this off.
Yeah.
That kind of is like what I'm looking for, to be honest, like something that just is challenging. I did a film, it's untitled right now, right before it in Florida. And it on at first it looked like a role that I had done before. It's like, oh, like,
Yeah.
the girly girlfriend. And then it had like a huge twist at the end that was something I had never done before. And I was like, whoa, like, okay, that is a role I want to take.
Yeah.
So, definitely like trying to expand, what I'm used to and push
Yeah.
myself.
I feel like sometimes too, like today, people get tagged, oh, the rom-com actor,
Right.
things like that. But I feel like it'd be a really great experience to get out and say, I'm ready to do something new. But I feel like people get such backlash now about that.
Yeah, because I think when the audience is used to seeing you a certain way, and then that's the thing, like, right now I'm doing like independent like film, so it's like the perfect playground for me to like take on roles that are challenging because I am getting those offers. But if I was going out for like HBO and it was like a role I've already done before, like I'll definitely take the role,
Yes.
but like I think I've been very lucky to like play in this like independent film market and like take on a bunch of different roles. And I did do my first rom-com, Love's Fast Lane, but I
Yeah.
was like a mechanic. So it was like, and I know nothing about cars. And I remember reading it like, whoa, like even this is a challenge because like a mechanic. What?
Yes. Now, I want to hop into your memoir, Am I Perfect Yet? Congratulations on this. I mean, finding fullness in my authentic self. First of all, what inspired you to write this book?
Oh gosh. I started writing it in 2020.
Okay.
I
Perfect
am like a
time to
big
do it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect time to do it. And I love reading memoirs. Like they're my favorite things to read. I've
Yeah.
read like almost every like celebrity memoir there is, like Matthew Perry's, Jeanette McCurdy's, Pamela Anderson's. Like I
Yeah.
just love them so much. And then even like non-famous people, Andy Mitchell has one. It was Me All Along that
Ooh,
was super
okay.
inspiring that I loved. And I was like, I always wanted to write one and I kind of just thought like I'll do it later on.
Yeah.
Um, but then kind of like, yeah, during the pandemic and stuff, I was like, I don't have to like wait to write this. Like I did go through like body image issues and like an eating disorder growing up from like a very young age and then like, going into cheerleading and like, all the expectations from like dance and like, I was like the all-star child to my parents. Like I did always did what I was told and
Yeah.
like then kind of growing into myself and being like, okay, I do want to live the life I want to live. And so I was like, I think that girls will resonate with this story.
Okay.
So I just kind of started writing it and I didn't know if I would like be able to finish it or if it would be something I pick up later.
Yeah.
But I finished it. I was like, you know what? I think I do want to share this.
Okay.
And I've gotten great like feedback and like so many women have messaged me like I so relate to this and like
Love
I
that.
feel like I was reading my own story when I was
Yeah.
reading this book. So it's been like gotten some good feedback and so
Now, when you were done writing it, what was the emotions? What was the feelings? Were you like, "Oh my God, it's done. I finished," or like was it something off of your shoulders?
yeah, it was definitely very therapeutic to write it.
Yeah.
But then, like with like the publisher, they send you so many edits back and forth. So I was like, oh, I'm done. And then it was like, oh, here's this. So then it ended up being like another like 3 or 4 month process of me having to reread the book. I'm not kidding, like over and over and over and look for
Reading
errors.
it all.
I know, and I would just like read it. I'd be like, okay, this is actually like really taking a toll on my mental health. But once I publish it, then it was like, okay, it's done, it's out there. Like I feel good sharing my story because it was like a lot of secrets I definitely kept for a
Yeah.
long time.
Now, body image and eating disorder, you said you've gotten some feedback on it, but what is it from this book that you want readers to take with them? What is it that you want people to resonate with?
Yeah, I feel like in all, it's more of a coming of age story. Like
Okay.
I know it does focus on like eating disorders and body image, but
Yeah.
it's also like that's why it's like finding fullness in my authentic self. Like I really want to inspire women to I feel like we just have so much pressure of like how we're supposed to live our lives.
Yeah.
Like even for pursuing acting, like I talk about that in the book, like my family did not want me to pursue acting. Like that
Oh,
they were like I mean, they like let me do
yes.
it to an extent, but like that was not what they wanted for me.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of going against what everybody said I should be doing to go pursue this dream. And I'm so glad that I have. And so that's kind of the main takeaway I want is like, and at the end, it's like, love yourself for
Yeah.
being imperfect. Like, we're not meant to be perfect. And like, I think as I felt that as a kid, like, not even just like body image, but I need to be like the perfect student. I need to
Yeah.
be the perfect daughter. I need to be all these things. And I mean, even talked about in the Barbie movie, there's so many expectations like on
Oh my
women.
God.
And that's why I'm like, that's what the book is mainly about is just like, hey, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to be imperfect. And it's okay if what you want to do is not what everybody else wants you to do. That's fine. Like
Yep.
own it and do it and
Yep.
trust your gut.
America's speech in that Barbie movie.
So good.
It's so good. I can't believe she gave that and was able to get through that.
Yeah.
But I much like you I'm the oldest daughter. I was the Danielle can't do anything wrong. I
Yeah.
butted heads because with my dad because we're so much alike, but it transcended to today where like, oh yeah, Danielle can handle this. Danielle's perfectly fine. I'm like, hold on. Hold on. I don't want to handle that. Danielle can't do that.
Can't do
Oh,
this. How
and it's
many siblings do you have?
just and I just have a younger sister. So
Okay, okay.
thankfully I don't have three others
No, but still, like, yeah.
it's a lot. And even for my sister all the time, she's like, you couldn't just pave the way a little bit for me. And I'm like, sorry.
Like, I cannot do this. Maybe it's an older daughter thing. Like the
I
parents
think
kind of
it
do
is.
put, yeah.
I think it is because I've even seen videos of like the expectations that gets put on the older daughter and
Yeah.
even like the things that older daughters hold. And I'm like, my God, you just explained to me.
Like I feel very seen.
So very seen right now. Very seen. I want to jump to you. You talked about in the beginning. You just produced a film with your husband, a horror film. What made you want to say, okay, I'm interested in producing? What was that jump from being in front of the camera still to saying, I like behind the camera work?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like got pulled into it in a sense because I met my husband on that film.
Okay.
So we weren't together yet, and then we started dating, and I kind of just fell into, watching the cuts of the film and giving my input, and and so I'm still very new to producing, but he kind of like dragged me into it in a way. But I had like dabbled in writing before. Like I had written a cheerleading show and some other scripts. I just had never had anything like get off the ground. And
Yep.
now we're about to produce a true military movie at the end of the year, based on his brother passing away in Iraq.
Okay.
So yeah, so now I've just kind of like, but I definitely, that was always a vision of mine, is to get behind the camera, like be like a Margot Robbie and like make my own projects and really have a hand in what roles I'm taking on.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been really fun. It's so cool to like take a project from the ground up. It's similar to like writing a book. It's like your baby, you're
Yes.
with it every step of the way.
Now, what is it like between the two of you working together? Is it butting heads at all? Did you look at each other at the end of the day and we're like, we leave this here and we take this, like we don't take it home? Like, what is that like for the two of you?
Luckily, we like are usually always on the same page.
Okay, good.
We spend like so much time together. So, but we know when to give each other space because we're kind of like both introverted. So like I'll
Okay.
be like, okay, I'm like, he goes and does like his workout. I'm like, I'm going for a walk, or like I'm going to the guest room to like take a nap, like bye. But luckily we get along so well. We jive very easily. So, and we're usually on the same page about like where we see the project going. And
Yeah.
and if we do disagree, I say, well, this is my opinion. He says, this is mine. And
Yeah.
then we like take time to think about it. And then we'll usually like meet exactly in the middle. So,
Aside from acting and producing, when you take both of those hats off, what do you enjoy spending your downtime doing?
ooh,
How do you decompress?
yes. Oh, so many ways. I feel like I like to write poetry, which
Uh,
is kind of like a fun little, like, I have two poetry books out too, but I just like to write it. Almost just like self-expression, like getting it out. Reading. I like to read like memoirs or like self-help books or like motivational books.
yeah.
I dabble sometimes in like romance, spending time with my friends and family, going on walks. Like, I mean, honestly, anything like really low
Yep.
key is my vibe. I'm very much a homebody,
Yeah.
or just watching movies in bed, rotting. Like that's what about you? I feel like I know I'm like I feel like people usually get me on the rotting, right? It's like
No, I'm the same. I'm like, I'm a true introvert. So you can leave me in my house
yeah.
and I won't have to see another person for days and I will be thrilled.
Same.
Thrilled. I've said that so many times on this podcast too, because we talk about people who are introverted and extroverted, and I'm like, I can rot with my two dogs and
And
be the happiest person in the world.
what kind of dogs do you have?
I have a Siberian Husky and then a Lab Pity mix.
Ah,
So I've got
I
two
used to know what
boys.
dogs are. Like, oh, two boys.
Two boys.
So fun.
Yep. And so I'm like, they are high energy. So sometimes I'm like, please, let's just have a peaceful moment. Can we just chill?
Story of my life. I have two teacup chihuahuas, and I'm always like, shh.
Shh, shh,
Yeah.
please, please.
I'm like, mama needs silence.
Uh,
Like,
Now, when you're on set, a very long day sometimes, what is it that helps you get through those long days? Like when you're in between takes, like what are you doing?
candy. Like,
Good, good. I'm so glad to hear somebody's eating candy and not some healthy food.
like Sour Patch Kids on the
Yes.
last set. There was I don't we were filming at this house and there were Sour Patch Kids locked in a box. And I was like, why is it locked in the box? And there was a code. And so I was like spinning all day. I was like, can someone guess this code? I need to get this candy. And then one of the extras on the movie, like the next day, just showed up and brought me Sour Patch Kids. She's like, you worked so hard yesterday to try to get those Sour
Try to
Patch
get
Kids.
that. Good.
And they could not get the box open. So here you go. But yeah, I mean, I feel like candy's such a quick like energy booster,
Yes.
especially like around like hour like 8, 9. Sometimes I'll drink like another like half a Celsius or energy drink,
Okay.
but then I can't sleep that good. And I know that when I get home, I need to like wind down at like an hour. So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of rely more on like candy.
Yes. Grace, my last question for you is just what inspires you?
Oh man. Oh, I feel like so many things, like my grandma, my sister's a Marine.
Oh,
She's just like the most inspirational person. Like she was an accountant for KPMG, like top accounting firm, and she's like, I'm gonna go be a Marine. And then did this like boot camp, shattered like her shin, and then like went back. Like she's
wow.
so insane. We're so opposite, but her endurance is so inspiring. But yeah, definitely my family. My husband inspires me. He's such a hard worker and, just goes after what he wants. So definitely just the people around that I love that, inspire me daily with their drive and, their passion.
I love that. Well, Grace, thank you, first of all, for taking the time and sitting down with me and talking with me. You guys, please go get Grace's book, Am I Perfect Yet? I'm going to have it linked down below. Go follow her on social media and see whatever project she is on at the current moment. But Grace, just thank you for being here and talking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.